We should be live. 93, 93, 93. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. If you don't already know, this is Asha Renew from AshaRenew.com. Today I want to speak on karmic forces and the breakdown of trauma. Now, before I get into all that, I know I haven't did a live in like 2 weeks, and it's mostly because I've been doing background stuff. What I mean by background stuff is I've been working on the predictions and I've been working on the forecasts. What's up, Immortal 72? What's up, Mine 2? 93, 93, 93. So, if you are a member of my website, then I just posted my December 2022 forecast, right? I also made a Patreon post, for the numerologists out there. So, basically, if you're into astrology, I just uploaded the December 2022 prediction. If you're into numerology, I post my monthly numerology breakdowns on Patreon. And also, we know we have the membership on the YouTube. So if you are a member of the YouTube, if you are a initiate, then I posted the moon breakdown. The moon had just entered into Aries recently. So I put that on the community section for the members. And if you are a neophyte, then I post, all my art. So all the art y'all been seeing on the thumbnails, I posted ahead of time. So you get access to all of that art ahead of time. So just saying all that to say, I've been working. I just haven't been doing videos on YouTube because I didn't want to give all my energy to YouTube, then neglect the rest of my social media, which basically that's what I had been doing before. So I wanted to correct that because I'll go super hard on YouTube, putting out videos every day, but I'm not making any social media posts, right? So my social media profiles are just sitting there, even though, I'm going crazy on YouTube. So that's why now I'm just doing my best to be more well rounded because I know different people are here for different things, right? So instead of me trying to do everything on the YouTube, I'm like, let me create spaces, depending on what people are into. Some people are into the numerology, some people are into the astrology, some people are into the tarot. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention the tarot. I do that on Telegram, right? So for the people that are already a part of the Telegram community, salute to you. Again, all these links could be found in the description for anybody who is interested in anything I'm saying. All these links are in the description of every video, right? So I'm just doing my best to, instead of putting everything in one place, depending on what you're into, I'm basically putting it where it is, right? So if you're into the tarot, you can join the Telegram. If you're into the numerology, you can join the Patreon. And if you're into the astrology, you can join the website. And if you're into the more behind the scenes, the predictions and the forecast with the moon, then you can join the YouTube, community, right? The membership. So that's what I've been doing, right? I've just been doing my best to be more organized again, just not giving all my energy to YouTube, being well rounded. So then what I'm working on now is the social media, right? I'm gonna start making, more frequent social media posts. And I didn't want to just post, just clips of what I already do here, see, which is what I was doing before, right? So what I would do before is, a video that I post on Instagram, let's just say, I will post that same video on TikTok. And I may even post that same video on Facebook because that was my approach. I wanted to put the content out in many places as it can be seen, right? However, this is my personal opinion, that's no longer the best approach. Meaning every platform should be treated as a unique individual. So, which is why I want to make exclusive content based on a particular platform instead of just doing everything and putting it everywhere. So that's my whole thing, right? So instead of like everything just being on the website, again, it's strictly for the astrology. Instead of everything being on the Patreon, that's strictly for the numerology, right? So I'm just separating the dimensions so people can get exactly what they're looking for instead of, again, everybody's not into Kabbalah, everybody's not into the demons or the angels, everybody's not into everything that I speak about, right? Different people have different interests. So instead of just putting everything or compiling everything into one, allow everybody to, if they want to further or advance themselves in a certain area, they can go exactly where they need to be. Instead of it just being, just universal and just well rounded, right, in one place. So enough with that. So I'm just, just updating everybody what I've been doing, just been working behind the scenes. Not really been too much focused on videos, but just getting everything else up to par. So not only am I doing the YouTube, I'll be doing the social media, but I'm not just doing the social media. I'm also doing the Patreon, the website. Like I haven't did like a website post in months, right? Because I just been so focused on the YouTube. So that's why I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and update, the members that already, pay the money every month, right? So I'm just making sure that they're going to be taken care of first instead of last, right? So I just needed to do some reorganizing to make sure everybody's getting what they pay for, and it's always an even exchange. So that's what I've been working towards, and that's basically what I'm going to dedicate the last month of 2022 towards. So by the time we go into January, we get into January, all this should be straightened out. Everything should be up and running, and we'll move forward, right? So again, I'm just taking this time to be a workaholic and just do all this behind the scenes, and all this background work instead of just putting my face on the camera every day, right? Because y'all know, I've been doing this damn near. It's basically been like 10 years. Because we're going into 2023. This particular channel was created in 2013, right? So 2023 would be the 10th year of me doing this, right? So of course, I done did everything you could possibly do. So my motivations are a little different than when I first started. When I first started, I just had something to say. I wanted to get my message out there. I wanted to give my unique perspective on things, which I feel I have. I've pretty much done that, right? If you tap into my energy, you pretty much know where I'm coming from. You know what I've been teaching. You know my angles already, right? So that's not really the thing at this point. Now it's just about, helping people to stay with it, right? So if you already, you already know what's up. This is just like a reminder. Now I just serve as a reminder, right? What's up, Keenan? 93. So if you already think Kabbalistically, I just represent a reminder, to keep your mind sharp, to keep your alchemy sharp, to keep your thinking innovative, to be original, right? So that's what I'm gonna always do, right? I'm gonna always talk from a different angles, from a individualistic angle. So let's get to the actual point of the video, right? I think I got all that stuff out the way, right? I just wanted to give y'all an update. I didn't want to just go straight into the video and y'all ain't seen me in a minute, right? So everything is good behind the scenes. Again, I just been working behind the scenes, just staying off camera. So everything else will be organized and balanced, right? So beyond that, what I actually wanted to speak about was like when it comes to things like holidays, for example, right? So we just, had Thanksgiving recently, and now we're moving towards Christmas, and New Year's, right? And I remember very early in my spiritual career, if that's what you want to call it, my technomancy, that I didn't celebrate holidays. Also, coming from a Muslim background, we most definitely didn't celebrate, Christian holidays, right? However, my family was very religious. I had great grandparents, that went to church every week, right? And these were the people that raised me, other than my mother, and the people that were around, right? So we would go to their residence. We would go to their home, basically on holidays. Thanksgiving come up, we would go to our grandparents' home. And they were the ones that gave us the idea of, family and, coming together, seeing people that you only see maybe once or twice a year, right? It was never a matter of, celebrating the life, you can say, of Jesus, or celebrating the destruction of, you can say, the Native Americans, about the Thanksgiving. Because as we know, when you begin to do your research, when you begin to do your history, we realize that these holidays, they don't all have favorable or honorable beginnings. A lot of it, you can say was created in blood and blood worship. It was based off of a slaughter, right? I'm not denying any of those facts. And which is why, so when I became spiritual, it wasn't nothing for me to just, just stop celebrating the holidays because I'm like, oh, yeah, why would we celebrate holidays that, were bounded with blood and rituals and, all this traumatic energy, right? Why would we want to remind ourselves of that, yearly? So that was my perspective, in the beginning. As I've aged, as I became more advanced, as you become older, and then as you start to see the younger generations coming up, and then you remind yourself of when you were the same age as them and how important it was for you to have certain events take place. Like, for example, as I said, with my grandparents, it was never about the worship of a make believe Christ. They didn't make that the emphasis of Thanksgiving, or they didn't make that the emphasis of Christmas. So whatever the actual holiday was about, it was never about that, right? You can say prayer probably took up like 60 seconds out of the whole day of celebration. It would basically at the end of it all, everybody would stand in a circle, then they would pray. They probably would mention Jesus, say amen, and everybody do their thing. So that probably only got mentioned again out of the whole day about 60 seconds, right? So for us, it was never about this whole day is celebrating the life of somebody else or the life of the Christ, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. It was all about family. So when I look back, like for example, again, I still have family that's religious. I still have family that celebrate holidays. They celebrate Thanksgiving. They celebrate Christmas. They got the Christmas trees up right now. You know what I mean? We had a meal Thanksgiving, right? I just find myself like not even caring anymore. Not in disrespect of the ancestors, not in disrespect of the history, but knowing what it does for the younger generation and knowing what it does for children. Because I know what it did for me. Because when I look back at it, I'm like, yo, that did more for me than what I realized at the time. At the time, it was just a day that you saw a family that you didn't see, mostly, right? But as an adult, looking back at it, I'm like, that was the whole energy of holidays. What I mean by that is the same way we can take the N word, nigga, which we know has, you can say, destructive origins. But what do? We flipped it, we transmuted the energy, and it became a word of endearment, right? So even though it has negative origins, negative connotations, you can say there's nothing positive about the word. But now it's a word that's just used daily by all peoples, people that don't even look like me. They're saying the N word, right? It's just a part of the culture at this point, right? The word doesn't have the same weight that it held in the past. That's how I feel about the energy of the holidays. The origins may be destructive, but through our magic, we have found the ability to, you can say, focus the energy not on the destructive elements, but the positive elements. And the positive elements, again, you can say the positive elements of holidays are just being able to engage with your family members that you otherwise wouldn't engage with because everybody's working, everybody's busy, everybody got a life of their own, everybody's raising kids, right? Everybody's, just doing what everybody got to do, right? So there's no problem that we can't take a couple days out the year to just reflect. So that's how I look at it now. It's more of a reflection instead of awakening more trauma. Cause that's how I used to look at it before. Like, okay, like me giving any energy to these holidays or these American days or this Western energy, I'm basically just basically re-traumatizing the ancestors, right? That's how I used to look at it. But again, when I look at my own history and I look at just how much it meant to me as a child, to be able to connect with other family members and just being able to interact and to advance yourself not in a spiritual way, you can say, but more of a traditional way. Because no matter how rebellious I may seem, or or how you can say twisted my mind may seem, I grew up amongst very traditional people. Again, like my great grandparents. So it wasn't my grandparents; it was my great grandparents. So it wasn't my mother's mother. It was a whole nother generation after that. So you could say they were the true elders. People would come to their home, to celebrate Thanksgiving, to celebrate Christmas. So they had the designated home that everybody went to. So it was always an event on those particular days. And I just never seen them, you can say lacking, just to use modern day terms. I never saw them lacking. Every time you went over there, house is clean, everything is spiffy, everything is in order, organized. They were never slipping, and you could say they were older than everybody else. So they were like perfect examples of what human beings could be. And I'm sure many of us feel the same way about our great grandparents if we met them. Like everybody didn't meet their great grandparents, but I was fortunate to be able to be with mine for about 20 years before they ascended. So I'm always thinking about the memory and the impression they had on me. Now that they have transcended, I'm always, again, they continue to teach me from the other side. Because I always find myself just in meditation, and I'm like, damn, that I didn't realize the significance that these things held till now that we're looking at it, and now it's our turn to put on the same energy for the youngins. Now we got to put on the events. Now we got to bust our ass and go extra hard to make sure, the kids have presents, that it becomes a day of celebration for them. And it don't even have to be nothing religious. There don't even have to be a mention of a Christ. It don't even have to be a mention of anything religious at all. For the kids, it's just an event. It's just a celebration. We worked hard all year. We made it through. Let's celebrate going into the new year. Again, in the Western calendar, right? We know technically the new year is in April, in spring. The new year shouldn't be in the middle of winter. But that's just how the system is set up. There's no need to go against it. Right? Again, this is just me reflecting on my own energies, right? I used to want to go against all this shit, right? I've been through all those phases, being off the grid. Again, it's well documented. Like most of this stuff is documented already on the channel, right? So y'all didn't see me go through my several evolutions. And again, I just found myself just giving less and less of a fuck. Basically, of trying to prevent things, right? Or being afraid of negative energies or negative currents. Because again, you could say holidays is basically you're transmuting negative energy into positive energy. You're translating something that was destructive to your heritage or your ancestors, and you're making it a day of celebration or a moment of celebration. So instead of celebrating the death of the ancestors, we're actually celebrating the life of the ancestors, right? Which is what we're supposed to be doing, in my opinion. The point is to break the karma down, to break the trauma down. So what I mean, like if every time Christmas comes up, And the first thing I'm thinking about is oppression. The first thing I'm thinking about is how we been fucked over, and how this fake Jesus story. If all Christmas does is remind me of the bullshit, basically, all I'm doing is, you can say, stirring up my own karmic energies, just giving myself a reason to feel negative, which is not necessary, right? There should be no reason why I feel negative on a holiday. And if I'm feeling negative on the holiday, and I can, okay, well, the reason is because of what actually happened historically versus what's happening business wise. Yeah, I can use that, but I feel the ancestors would rather be celebrated instead of being reminded of their hurt and their pain. In my opinion, I don't think they want us to remember them in that light or in that fashion or even feel that way. In my opinion, I don't think they want us to constantly have to feel threatened or feel some type of way just because holidays come up. And it may have been to their detriment, especially when you can transmute the energy and then celebrate them on that day. Okay, this was a destructive, deadly day, but instead of being reminded about the death and destruction, let me actually celebrate those who may have suffered on this day. Let me celebrate your life by living and continuing to live and living well, right? But there's no reason to not live well because of past events, right? The past should not dictate your future because we have the ability to transmute energy, right? We don't have to walk around weighed down, by all the things we should be weighed down with, right? We can walk around with our hearts lighter than a feather if we choose, right? We can choose to walk in the path of the divine will, and our divine will allows us to be in any space at any moment of time and be centered and be grounded and not have to feel no type of way. And again, this is just speaking from a person again who it took me time to get to this place, right? Like I wouldn't celebrate no holidays under no circumstance because I'm like that's disrespectful to do that. Versus now, you may just find me at a fucking Christmas party. You may find me eating a meal or a plate on Thanksgiving. You may find me somewhere New Year's, fucking drunk and high, celebrating with every fucking body else, blending in instead of standing out. Instead of making other people feel some type of, well, you know about the history of this. You don't think they know? Of course they know. And they probably feel the same way I feel. Like, yeah, we know what happened, but that's not why we're here. We're not here to make anybody else feel bad. We're here to celebrate life. And I actually agree. That's how it should be, right? That's how we transmute the energy and break the karma. Instead of we have to constantly remind ourselves of the history of this country. I don't even think that shit is useful, right? I shouldn't have to just constantly remind us about trauma and karma. We already know that, right? Our goal is to transmute it. Our goal is to move beyond it and to advance forward. It's like as if it didn't happen at all. Would that not be the best outcome? That all of the things that they tried to put in our way, all of the obstacles, they didn't work, and we can still find reasons to celebrate and enjoy life instead of feeling like we're the last and we're at the bottom and this is a reason and we can't get it together and all this. We can focus on the ills or we can celebrate life. The choice is always ours. Like, because whenever I look at the TV, whenever I look at the internet, I just see us reaffirming our karma, us reaffirming our trauma. It's always a reason why you shouldn't be doing something, right? It's always a reason why, oh, you know what really happened on this day, or you know this, or you know that. Yes, the truth. The truth is stranger than fiction, and the truth is very distasteful. I completely acknowledge that. Which is why I also understand sometimes the truth is better left unsaid. That's another difference that I feel now. Before I felt like if I knew the truth, I just have to say it. I just gotta let people know. I don't feel that way no more. Now I understand why yeah, some truth is better left unsaid. Just because you could say the truth right now, don't necessarily mean that that should be the best thing or that is the best thing you should do, even though we're supposed to be truth tellers, right? We're supposed to be bound to the truth, but that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be vocalized because some truth doesn't require words. That's how I look at it now. I'm like, some truth don't require words. I don't have to fucking bust your bubble. You may be a Christian and love Christ. I don't have to come into your reality and tell you, okay, this is how this actually came from this, and this is actually stolen from this, and this is which is all facts. But why bust this person's bubble at all when the energy can be to celebrate that person? You can either bust that person's bubble, make that person feel bad, or you can celebrate their life. Especially when the person hasn't did no harm to you personally at all anyway. So I'm like, why am I going around busting people's bubble who never did any harm, no hardship to me? Why am I going around busting bubbles? When everybody's actually just trying to celebrate life, because what the fuck did they actually do any damn way? I shouldn't be walking around feeling no type of way about nobody. What the fuck did they really do? What the fuck is anybody really has done to me? What does someone really have done to you, right? It's like we just try to reconfirm karma to find a reason to feel some type of way about what's going on. And then we call it woke, right? We call it consciousness. And this is why the so called conscious community is in shambles the way it is. It's because we keep reaffirming trauma. We keep reaffirming karma. Karma and trauma. Like we're talking about that more than anything else, right? Why we can't get along, why we should be doing this, why we shouldn't be doing that. Like December is a month of fasting, right? You know, for the Muslims that subscribe to Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad said, don't fast during Ramadan, fast in December. Because this is a month that everybody go crazy. For Christmas, for the holidays. This is the month that people, the Capricorn energy, right? This is definitely the month the devil come out. And you can take that as a positive or a negative, depending on your perspective. But according to Elijah Muhammad, this was the month that you should actually be fasting. From sun up to sundown, no food, no drink. When the sun go down, you can do what you want. But when the sun is up, you should be righteous. All right, so just putting that out there for anybody, who may want to increase that energy of celebration. Maybe it's just time for a fast, especially in this month. Because I guarantee you will feel differently. Because if you're walking around again feeling any type of way, any type of trauma, any type of karma, I guarantee if you take yourself through a fast, you're just simply not going to feel that way anymore. Your energy will change. Your energy will be different. But it will take work. It will take sacrifice. And that just goes to show how we are not even who we think we are. How we feel and how we do things, you can say, is really based on trauma. It's really based on memory. It's not even based on who you actually are. That's why we got to go through all these steps just to get in alignment with our true will, with our thelema. If we didn't have to go through all these steps, it wouldn't be necessary. But this is just to cleanse your mind so that you a clean slate. You should really be walking around here like an angel. And what I mean by that is, you should be objective. You shouldn't be phased by what anybody is doing, by world events, by politics. None of this shit should really phase you, but because you see how it phases everybody else. People, is fucking hate Biden or they hate Trump. They hate these politicians. Fuck the government. Fuck the world. Again, they're just in that vibe. They're in that state of rebellion. Or you can say the spirit of revenge. There's a lot of people, a lot of especially spiritual people who are just in the spirit of revenge. Low key. They're not going to just straight up tell you that, but that's just a low key truth. A lot of spiritual people are moving in the spirit of revenge. They're moving in the spirit of hatred. Exactly. Traumatize and monetize. Exactly. We are monetizing off of our own karma. So this is being done by our own people. So that's why we don't have to talk about nobody else. We have our own people exploiting our own karma and our own trauma. There's people making videos right now talking about the origins of Christmas. People made videos, the origins of Thanksgiving, just to reiterate that karma. And this is coming from so-called spiritual people. These were the people that was putting the energy out there for us to feel any type of way in the first place. So that's the whole thing. It's so-called spiritual people that reiterate the bullshit. Because if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't be feeling no type of way about it. Because like, all right, why the fuck do I need to feel like this? What is the goal? Not to transmute the energy instead of constantly being reminded of an energy that you can't get rid of. And now we want to talk about narcissists. Now we want to talk about toxic people. Now we want to use all these new age terms to to spice it up. It's like it's not necessary. It just comes down to trauma and karma, and it's up to us whether we allow it to influence us. But again, when you got all these content creators who consider themselves spiritual, but all they're doing is reawakening karma, if we consider that to be spiritual, then I guess I'm not a spiritual person. That's why, again, I don't even really resonate with the energy, because when I look at what these spiritual people are doing, I'm like that. I don't resonate with that shit at all. I don't be watching that shit and it make me feel good. It doesn't make me want to continue to celebrate life. It makes me, again, it just makes me angry, or it unsettles me, right? So that's the whole thing. We shouldn't be absorbing any type of energy that unsettles us, but that's what people monetize off of. Because they know if they able to affect your heart center, they got you. Watch a video that makes you cry, or that makes you feel hurt or pain. That content is all over the goddamn YouTube. So you can tap into that energy. You can tap into the drama. Look at all these shows filled with drama. It's just so easy to tap into trauma. It's so easy to tap into karma. But whenever we need to tap into the energy of celebration, it's like, where is everybody at? You got plenty of people ready to destroy the world. You got plenty of people ready for revenge. But where are the people that's just celebrating life? Everything doesn't have to be a war, especially not. Look, the wars with the pen. Is that not why we're penmen? I guess people don't realize that. That's why we don't walk around with swords no more. Some people walk around with guns, but you don't need it. Because your weapon in today's times is the pen. Your whole life can be changed with your pen, not your sword. Well, I guess your whole life could be changed by your sword or your gun if you use it. But you don't have to. You can activate your pen and place yourself in all type of realities. Your pen can transmute your karma. Your pen can transmute your trauma. That's what the pen is for. Your pen can bring out your highest self, otherwise known as your holy guardian angel. You can manifest your holy guardian angel through your own pen. That's why when people rhyme, you can say that's coming from their higher self. That's why they speak in rhymes. That's why rappers speak in rhymes. That didn't start from rappers. We were already doing that. That's just a part of the culture. You can even say it came from the pimp culture. Because before the rappers and before drug dealers, you had pimps. They were the ones, who was speaking like the rappers speak now. That's the origin of that. So you can say it all come from a dark place. It all, like the whole hip hop culture, the whole culture, you can say starts from a dark place. Everything comes from the darkness. But the culture is a culture. And there are elements of the culture that is distasteful, especially other people. They're never going to understand why we do what we do, because it's not for them to understand. Because certain things are only meant for those who are participants of the culture, right? So that's what it's about. So I don't even want to come on here no more and to give anybody the spirit of anger or hatred and all that. I'm like, I done already did all that. Again, that's why I'm like, I done made plenty of videos on it. That's why my perspective is a little different, right? Like I've been running my mouth for 10 years now. It's been a whole fucking decade. I'm like, all right, I don't feel the need to reiterate the energy no more because it's already been done. We done already been through those phases. We done already been through 2012. We done already been through the quickening. We done already been spiritually awakened, right? So it's like, where do we go from here? But we can't go anywhere from here if we're still weighed down by the karma and the trauma. And it just seems like, again, that's what makes the money though. I ain't gonna lie. If we just want to keep it 100, right? Because I see the plays. It makes money. When you rap and you talk about bullshit, it makes money. When you speak half truths, it makes money. It gets views, it gets clicks. So I understand why people do it because, yeah, let me start talking about all these popular topics. My views is going to go up, subscribers are going to go up. But to me, it ain't worth it. Like, I don't even want those type of people in my atmosphere. So that's why I never did that. I never started just making content just for clicks and views because I'm like, what, that doesn't hold any weight for me. I don't even want these people around. I'm like, the last thing I want to do is be having a conversation in real life about a fucking narcissist. That's the last thing, and I'm like, I don't want to talk. Why the fuck would we be talking about this shit when we can be talking about how to advance our thinking, how to think kabbalistically, and how to have new thoughts, which allow you to do new things that haven't been done before, instead of focusing on what has already been done. So that's why I never went that route, right? That's why I'm like, yeah, I'm not like, I don't. That's why I don't do mainstream content because I'm like, though, that's not the type of energy that I even want around here. I rather it be small and exclusive and keep it authentic than now it's just a bunch of people who think they know what they're doing, to think they know what they talk about. I'm like, all right, have fun because all that shit brings is toxicity. Because those same spiritual people that's supposed to be on this same journey, this same path, will be the same people that go to war against you. 48 laws of power, right? So yeah, we can talk that spiritual shit all we want, but it's fucking 48 laws of power out here. That shit ain't gonna never change. Human nature and the human psyche, that's not gonna change. So in a room full of spiritual people, you still got people that's envious. You still got people that's jealous. They're not above any of those negative attributes just because they're spiritual. They're actually more prone to it. See, that's what people didn't realize. All of the negative attributes, if you're spiritual, you actually become more prone to it because you're opening up yourself in ways that other people are not opening themselves up to. So you become more prone to negative energy, as we call demons and jinns and all that. You become more open to that. So all these spiritual people that's just, into the Most High, into the Christ, or into this, into that, it's not what you think it is. So to even consider yourself spiritual, you're basically mastering a dark path. To be spiritual is to be dark. It's not to be light, it's to be dark. You have to conquer your own trauma, your own karma. You have to go through your own darkness. So that's why spiritual people tend to be very fucking dark. But the goal isn't to remain in the darkness. The goal is to manifest your light from the darkness. Like, damn, I am fucked up. I have been through trauma. You accept it all like, damn, like I am a weirdo. My mind is perverted at times. You accept the distastefulness. Because we know none of us are perfect. We all have flaws, but they must be accepted. You can say some flaws were not meant to be fixed. Because that's not what makes you imperfect. You having flaws is not what makes you imperfect. It actually is what makes you perfect. What makes you perfect is because, yeah, you can be a spiritual person. But then when you see that ass walk past, you still looking. Because you still accept yourself as a human being. I'm still a man. I still have instincts. I'm still attracted to the opposite sex. You don't try to stop the natural processes. You're like, oh shit. Like, damn, I just prayed. I just prayed, but goddamn, I'm still looking. I'm still going to admire the opposite sex, the feminine energy. Like I'm not going to deny myself that. Like I'm above that. No, no, you're not. No, you're not. I'm telling you right. I'm telling you right now. Nope. That's what makes you perfect. That's not an imperfection. That's what makes you perfect. Like you're still a man. You're still a woman, or whatever you decide to identify as. You're still what you are. Spirituality is not going to change that. But again, these are things I had to learn over time. You don't become spiritual to change your imperfections. You become spiritual to accept them, accept your negativity. That's how it's transmuted. You must accept it. You must accept your devil. That's why I'm always talking about the darkness. Not for people to become dark and to remain in the dark and the shadows. You must accept it and integrate with it so that darkness can manifest in the light. But it must be by your command. Because when the dark starts to try to manifest its own light, that's when we run into issues. But when you are in control of the dark, you have the dark under your command because you are the Lord of the underworld. You have that title, then you're not worried about it. So I'm just giving clarity here. All this video is to give the necessary clarity so that if you find yourself in one of these mazes, you understand how to get yourself out of it. So it's no disrespect to anybody, no way of life, no particular people, no traditions. These are just traps that we find ourselves caught into. And I'm just giving you a solution. If you find yourself in one of these traps, this is how you get out of it and not feel no type of way about it. Don't feel no type of way that you still have imperfections and you've been spiritual 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years. It ain't gonna change. You still are gonna look at that ass walk past. I don't give a fuck how much you are in the astrals. You still looking at the ass. And I'm just using that as an example. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't beat yourself. You may have been a vegetarian and you eat a piece of meat to celebrate. Not necessarily a way of life. You got vegans that don't eat meat only to celebrate. So basically, you don't put yourself in a position where you feel like you're above that. Like fuck meat. Meat is dangerous. I would never eat meat. Some people eat it only in celebration, only in ritual, right? Just like some people only have sex only ritualistically. They don't have casual sex. They have ritualistic. It's only ritualistic, and that's what we call tantric sex. It's only in ritual. It's only when it's sacred. It's never casual. So if you don't want a casual life, then don't live a casual life, right? Make your life sacred. Make your life a ritual. Make everything holy, even the darkness. And with that, I bear peace. 93. Love is the law. Love under will.